is a special press brief on the MDC Alliance's planned demonstrations and protests on the 31st of July 2020. Following repeated threats by the MDC Alliance, its appendages, supporters, and external financiers to call for a violent demonstration on the 31st of July 2020 against COVID-19 lockdown regulations with the intention to overthrow a constitutionally elected government. ZANU-PF is a revolutionary mass party which carries the mandate of the people following its resounding victory in the 2018 general elections, feels obligated to make this direct appeal to our people. As the ruling party, ZANU-PF advises our people to shy away from being misled onto a deadly path by merchants of death who have no interest in the safety and security of our people, and regrettably, no interest whatsoever in the general welfare of our people. ZANU-PF calls upon our people to reject imposters like the MDC Alliance, which masquerades as a democratic political party, but which, since its formation, has thrown the interests of the country and the people to the dustbin in favor of furthering neo-colonial interests, which our people and the party fought to defeat. This is why I came flanked by my colleague here, Comrade Mahia, just to demonstrate, to make it very clear that we defeated the enemy, but the enemy continues to rear its head, not directly this time, but through our own people. As we unpack and unbundle in this special press brief, the MDC Alliance and its predecessors, the MDC-T and MDC, are Trojan horses and foreign-funded creatures whose sole purpose was to oppose, reverse, and disrupt the land reform program, and to undermine economic emancipation and empowerment of our people. For the record, the DNA of the MDC Alliance, its appendages, supporters, and external financiers, is a violent, anti-revolutionary, and mercenary neo-colonial outfit. And I give below its history and its true political colors and values. The MDC and its runner-dogs in the evil society. Last time I used the word deliberately, evil society. The media corrected it, thought that I made a mistake to say civil. I mean evil society. Any organization which wishes the death of its population is not civil, is the opposite, is actually evil. So these evil society are founded and founded by the British Westminster Foundation. And this was done to oppose the land redistribution program and to delay the complete decolonization of our country. As you are all aware, our decolonization was not complete at independence. Deliberately so, we decided and we had agreed that we will finalize and take back our land in a negotiated manner. It never came to pass. This organization was founded not to pursue and advance our people's national interests, but those of unrepentant ex-Rhodesians and former colonizers. Soon after its formation, the MDC, in response to the will of their creators, they asked for the imposition of illegal sanctions against this sovereign republic and the people, including their own blind followers. What the MDC does not know is that sanctions affect their supporters as well as ZANU-PF supporters. They don't know that. They are not as educated to see the deep meaning of their actions. And all this in order to reverse the land reform program, which has been set in motion to empower, not just to empower all our people, everybody, Again, this is not appreciated because they are just an agent of a foreign hand. The same MDC factions today globe-trotted, liaising for the continuation and extension of the same illegal sanctions which have been roundly condemned by the civilized world as an act of war against our innocent people. You journalists should take opportunity to ask them, where do they get money to globetrot, to sleep in the most expensive, luxurious hotels, asking for sanctions against their own people? Where do they get the resources from? These are questions that the media should be asking them. You are not just responsible for accounting government, but also political parties which are aspiring to rule, to get into government. These facts cannot be controverted that the globe-trotted asked for sanctions. All these have been done under the false cover of fighting for human rights in order to mislead the international community. Here we have the MDC, they emulate countries which impose sanctions, in itself a violation of very basic human rights of our people. Here we have MDC which emulates sanctions imposed in countries which have no respect in their own jurisdictions on the lives of black people. This is why we have organizations which say Black Lives Matter. They forget that they are blacks. They forget that those who are oppressed in the United States elsewhere are black people. They have no regard for that. Now, what values are they seeking to import and practice in our country? Why can't they see for themselves that they are being misled? That there is no truth whatsoever in the United States propagating human rights elsewhere, when in fact they cannot practice such human rights in their own countries against their own population. And I think the video of George Floyd, you are all aware of that, how a human being, a black person, is treated like he's just an animal, like he's a rat. The same party also, the MDC, under the late Morgan Tsvangirai, and I repeat this again and again to show the true DNA of MDC. Tsvangirai tore his party's own constitution to make illegal appointments of 2 additional vice presidents. These are the people who call themselves Democrats, yet they have no respect of their own constitution. How can they be trusted to respect the national constitution, I ask? Isn't this daylight hypocrisy? As if that is not enough, in 2018, one of the illegally appointed vice presidents violently usurped power following the death of Tsvangirai. To this day, it is known fact that Chamisa resorts to violence to gain political mileage within the MDCs, in full glare of the same Western embassies that clamor for human rights but have never uttered a word in condemnation of the violence perpetrated by its surrogates. He has used hooligans to intimidate opposition players and nearly burned down his political rival, Thokozani Kupe, at a funeral. This cannot go and continue unchallenged. Zimbabweans who ignore this violent streak in the MDCs will not have anyone but themselves to blame if they follow and pursue violent outfits and personalities. The law will be applied without fear or favor. Like I said last time, if they don't respect the law will not respect them. Now, ahead of the 2018 harmonized elections, Chamisa and cohorts led a crusade of violent speeches during the campaign, threatening an imminent post-electoral violence in direct contrast to President E.D. Mnangagwa's call for peace, tolerance, love, unity, and violence-free elections. go to the campaign speeches of our president and of Chamisa. Chamisa is spewing out violent threats. Our president is talking peace because he knows the consequences of violence. Having been and he being an armed soldier himself, he knows what are the consequences of violence. Death will ensue. Throughout his campaign, Chamisa repeated the infamous anecdote, and I repeat, ndiri kudira jecha musadza racho toona kuti munoridya sei kana ndisina kuhwina, which literally meant that the MDC would engage in acts of sabotage and make the country ungovernable, something that is beginning to unfold. And addressing a rally at Mukoba Stadium in Gweru on the 23rd July 2018, again Chamisa went on to say that, and I want to quote, "I will be serious. There will be serious consequences if my will does not prevail." End of quote. Addressing another rally at Jerera Growth Point in Zaka on the 14th, 2018, Chamisa threatened violence again, saying, and I quote, "I will bring into the streets guys from Baramsika who are ready for violence." End of quote. Not to be outdone, Tendai Beat, the now Vice President of MDC Alliance, while addressing a rally in Mavuku Tafara constituency on 26 June 2018, declared, and I quote, "The Alliance will not accept election results if ZANU-PF was the winner," again threatening violence in the event that ZANU-PF won the polls. As if that was not enough, on the morning of 1st of August 2018, the MDC Alliance youth leader, Hapmo Chidziwa, addressed MDC Alliance youth at Harvest House, urging them to engage in acts of violence in the Harare Central Business District and to attack the ZEC offices. They hoped that they could destroy the votes and the results coming in. He also urged them to attack the National Elections Command Center, ZANU-PF offices, government buildings, and fuel stations. We were indeed attacked here, as again it happened on the 14th to the 16th of January last year. All this culminated on the 1st of August 2018. Violent protests and demonstrations aimed at stopping the counting of ballots. We remind our people that voting ended on the 31st of July 2018, and before the results were counted, MDC had put its hooligans on the streets the following day in order to disrupt the counting of votes and defeat the purpose of the elections. Following the 1st of August 2018 violent demonstrations, His Excellency President E.D. Mnangagwa saw it fit to appoint an international commission of inquiry led by former South African President Kgalema Motlanthe. The Motlanthe Commission found the MDC Alliance culpable of the loss of life and destruction of property which accompanied the 1st of August 2018 violence, as the party was found to be coordinating the violence to overturn the electoral outcome, which the MDC was pretty aware we are losing through their polling agents. Let me explain this. In any harmonized elections, we all agree as political parties under the superintendence of ZEC, the number of polling stations throughout the country. In the last election, I think there were probably more than 10,000. But we agree where they are to be located, specifically each polling station. At each polling station, we are all represented by our own political agents. When votes come, ballots come, polling agents, the ballots are counted and polling agents sign to acknowledge the number of ballots that have arrived at each polling station. After the voting, again, they count to see how many are left of the ballots which came. And polling agents sign for that. Then they are counted. And the results, again, are signed for by polling agents. And then pinned outside each polling station. So it is up to each polling agent to send to its command center like we do, we receive. And before the ZEC announces, we generally will be in the know where we are faring, how bad or how worse we are doing. And that is the situation which obtained also with the MDC Alliance. The polling agents at all the polling stations, who no doubt we are reporting to them. So clearly, they became aware that they were losing. They did. So it must be put on record that the 2018 harmonized elections were the fairest, the most transparent, peaceful, democratic elections that any country anywhere could hold. Pronouncements by the MDC Alliance and its leadership that they'd won the elections, that they'd evidence of manipulation and electoral fraud proved false when this matter came to be heard before the Supreme Court. We all know that. They had no V11 forms, as they had said they had. None were produced as evidence. They had no evidence whatsoever. In fact, their legal counsel was an embarrassment in the court. Luckily, the trial on the hearing of the constitutional appeal of the MDC Alliance was televised. Otherwise, they would have lied again to you that, in fact, the judges were manipulated. So the whole country was able to see for itself the falsehoods which were being perpetrated by MDC Alliance. ZANU-PF is aware that all these efforts, including the much talked about 31st July 2020 proposed violence, follows a well-choreographed script proposed by former United States Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, Chester Crocker, whose strategy was to, and I quote, to make the Zimbabwe economy scream, end of quote, through sanctions, and in the process, I quote, separate ZANU-PF from the people. That is what all this social media hullabaloo and threats of demonstrations and protests is all about, intended to separate ZANU-PF from the people. What these detractors don't know is that ZANU-PF's relationship with the people has been watered in blood. It's unbreakable, unshakable. They don't know that. So this illegal regime change script, whose aim is to reverse the gains of our liberation struggle, in particular the land redistribution program, the party and its cadreship will never allow this to happen. Will never allow any malcontents to take over this country. Never. Further evidence of the violent streak within the MDC is when, on 6 August 2018, it said, and I quote, "We will make sure government don't get a cent. I can't tell you how, but I can tell you we have done it before. This they've succeeded. But it's very clear why they've succeeded, because they were sent to do that. They are merely pronouncing the intentions of the people who have founded and funded them. They are merely doing the bidding of those countries which impose sanctions. So it's not like he has got the power to stop money. No. The power is with his handlers. The same Mbiti, who is now the purported VP of MDC Alliance, has recently lived to his promise to deny Zimbabwe any foreign capital by writing to Western capitals and the World Bank for further sanctions to be imposed against Zimbabwe. You know, clearly I have respect for his intellectual prowess. Let me say that. He's very clever. But my disappointment is that he uses Maria akafundiswa neZANU-PF to undermine the revolution, to be a puppet and a sellout and a traitor to his own people. And often I wonder, how can such an intelligent person not realize that he's being duped by his handlers? It's a pity. But there you are. He's doing the bidding of his masters and doing it very well, to the point where he wrote to the World Bank not to give us COVID-related financing and resources, and we have not received such resources. The MDC Alliance treasonous disposition found expression during the 14th and 16th January 2019 orgy of violence and looting, which they organized in collaboration with non-hostile embassies fronted by the US Embassy and their evil society. The January 2019 violence were the DRS attempt made by the opposition to seize power unconstitutionally through the back door. This will not be allowed to happen again. The disturbances resulted in wanton destruction of property, mainly in Harare, Bulawayo, and largely affecting small to medium scale enterprises, some of which have never recovered from the looting, arson, and destruction to this day. This again will not happen under our watch. ZANU-PF therefore appeals to our people not to be misled by MDC Alliance malcontents, whose preoccupation is to see our people and the economy suffer. They've mastered the art of faking and stage managing ludicrous and drama-laden abductions, alleging non-existent human rights violations such as abductions, rape, and torture in order to besmirch the reputation of government and our nation. This is a cardinal and unpardonable sin that these malcontents have committed and continue to commit. If the violent activities perpetrated by the MDC opposition were acts done in Europe or the United States of America, they would have been branded a long time ago a terrorist organization, which in fact is what they are, along with their Trojan horses like the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, and others, which depend on foreign funding to make their anti-people activities. The MDC is seeking to win and gain through violence, which what they failed to win through elections. They hope that the fake news which they are spewing out on social media will sway the population in the direction of destruction of their own country. Never, never. They want to control through media the national narrative in this country. This is what you journalists should be aware of. Don't be agents, don't be conduit pipes of the narrative of countries which impose sanctions on Zimbabwe. We must develop our own narrative, our own national narrative, without regard to the interests of foreign countries. We encourage our people to continue to observe the lockdown measures as announced by His Excellency, the President, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa. Finally, ZANU-PF calls upon our supporters, cadres and sympathizers, wherever you are, to remain alert and ready to defend yourselves, defend our people, their property, and most importantly, defend peace in your communities against these malcontents, these hired hooligans and hoodlums who rejoice at burning properties and looting. During the August 2018 violence and the 14 to 16 January last year violence, when violence was unleashed against our people, against our supporters, they found us from Chirezi, they found us from Chipinge, they found us from Mashingo, asking for protection. We were unable to provide them that protection and safety. What we are saying to our supporters, to our people, is that they must know that when they are being attacked, the law enforcement agents may not be anywhere near the scene of crime. They must know that in those circumstances, their first line of defense is themselves and their families. They have a legal and constitutional right to defend themselves, their families, their spouses, their children, their property and possessions. Don't ask for permission from anybody. It's your constitutional and legal right. Don't be intimidated by hooligans and mercenaries. Don't be like sitting ducks as you were in August of 2018. Don't be sitting ducks as you were in January of 2019. Phoning us. No. This time, no. Use any means at your disposal to defend yourselves. And we are saying this unambiguously. We are reminding our people that self-defense is a right, especially when your security is under threat from these violent so-called protesters.